Hello, and welcome to the FIDM information session. My name is Denise Baca, and I'm the Director of Admissions here at FIDM. Before we begin our program today, I want to introduce you to my co-host, Admissions Advisor, Jennifer Clark. Hi, Jennifer. Jennifer and I have worked at FIDM for many years, and we both agree that our absolute favorite part of the job is helping students find the major that is the perfect fit for them, then seeing them flourish in school and in their careers. So we're hoping that this info session will help you find your perfect fit. Tonight, we'll be focusing on our design majors. We'll begin by giving you an overview of the college, then we'll introduce two of our wonderful students who will tell you about their experiences at FIDM, why they chose their major, and answer your questions. I want to begin by giving you a little bit of background about the college. FIDM was founded in 1969 with only two majors, fashion design and fashion merchandising. We've grown to an internationally renowned college with over 25 majors ranging from fashion, visual, and interior design to the business and entertainment industries with over 70,000 alumni. Our classes are taught by leading industry professionals, and we offer Associate of Arts and bachelor's degrees, as well as master's in business administration. We also have professional designation programs. Our students come to us at various stages in their lives, from high school students to college students to military veterans to second career seekers. Through all the years, our goal has essentially remained the same: to have an engaging, rigorous learning environment that blends theoretical and applied learning, or project-based learning, which ultimately prepares students to launch a successful career upon graduation. When students attend FIDM, the surrounding city is part of their education. One of the great things about Los Angeles is that in addition to fashion, just about every industry is represented here. This allows our students to have excellent internships and prepare them to work at top-rated companies or to become entrepreneurs and build their own brands. The campus itself is located in a very walkable neighborhood known as South Park. It's next door to the fashion district, but it has an urban-suburban mix with coffee shops, parks, boutiques, and restaurants all nearby. Not far from the campus is Hollywood, Beverly Hills, beautiful beaches, museums, the Grove Shopping District, and so much more. FIDM is a closed campus with an excellent security staff. The Business Improvement District, known as BID, has also done a really great job in providing local security guards who make sure the area is safe for its residents. The FIDM housing is also in this community and is walking distance from the campus. There are virtual tours of the beautiful housing on our website if you want to take a peek. Los Angeles is definitely an exciting city to live. It has entertainment, culture, and opportunity, and our students really take advantage of all of it. Living here gives them the opportunity to work part-time in the industry while they're in school, take advantage of internships, and then to have careers with companies all over the United States and even internationally. This slide is just a tiny sampling of where our grads work. We have graduates at Disney, Nike, Pixar, Levi's, Nordstrom, ColourPop, J-Brand Jeans. You name it, we probably have a grad there. We also have numerous alumni who've started their own companies and brands. It just really depends on what their goals are. One of the keys to our graduates being employed is the relationship they develop with the Career Center. From the beginning of their education, students are given one-on-one access to the career advisors as well as to the online career portal. The career advisors teach professional skills classes to help students develop their resumes, interviewing skills, portfolios, and to help them define their goals. They assist the students with getting internships, offer graduate job fairs, and provide lifetime career assistance. Literally, the relationship students build with the Career Center is lifelong. Not only do our alumni come back to the college to look for jobs, but they also hire FIDM students for their own companies. The networking opportunities at FIDM are endless. Students can network with the alumni, the faculty, industry guest speakers, and most importantly, with each other.
In addition to Career Center services, it is important for students to get involved while they're on campus. At FIDM, we know that the social component is key to a student's successful college experience. Participating in student activities is an important way to get involved. We have many clubs on campus that have something for everyone, including but not limited to Black Student Union, Phi Theta Kappa, Student Council, Mode Magazine, Student Veterans Association, and so much more. I always tell students that I'm working with to say yes to everything. Join every club, shake every hand, take every business card, make every moment an opportunity. Being active in clubs and on-campus events, students are able to meet great guest speakers, which allows for building connections with the industry and the community at large. There are volunteer opportunities and ways to give back to the community through philanthropic endeavors, as well as opportunity for off-campus adventure. Inclusion and support. Now let's talk a little bit about this important piece of the FIDM experience. At FIDM, we believe in supporting all students and their individual educational and career goals. We are also very interested in our students' mental health and well-being. To that end, we offer personal counseling services and have an open door policy across all departments. Students can meet with their department chairperson, student advisor, the vice president of the college, or whomever they need to in order to stay completely connected to their FIDM experience. Most importantly, FIDM fosters an inclusive and diverse student body, staff, and faculty. On-campus tutoring and educational resources are available as well. Help is here for the taking. The Idea Center offers individualized tutoring to students in a variety of subjects, such as English, math, Photoshop, Illustrator, fashion sketching. We also have instructor-led lab studio time, an extensive state-of-the-art fashion, art, and design library, and a sustainable, innovative materials workroom. FIDM also offers many workshops and lectures on topics important to our students, including the state of sustainability, which we know is a topic that's of special interest to many students across all majors.
So let's talk about some of your options beyond the campus. FIDM offers a variety of opportunities for study abroad and cultural exchanges. In a more typical time, the study tours would be taking trips to Paris, Italy, and China. But even though travel has been halted due to COVID, that hasn't stopped our students from exploring other cultures. Right now, our study abroad includes Zoom meetings with international designers and manufacturers, a cooking class from the Dominican Republic, a fresco painting class with a teacher in Florence, as well as other industry meetings so students can get behind the scenes experiences. Some of our advanced degree majors actually have travel as part of the curriculum. Like the International Manufacturing and Product Development Program, the students go to Europe on a business trip and then to Asia to visit production facilities. We also have some local study tours and international exchange programs that allow students to study abroad for a full semester. Lots of different opportunities. So you might be asking yourself, how can I take part in all of this? Your first step is to request an admissions advisor on the FIDM website. The application process is truly very personalized experience with your advisor. Your advisor will guide you through the entire process. They'll help you select your major and apply for scholarships and financial aid. For high school graduates, there's still time to apply for this fall. It begins on October 6th. But if you're interested, be sure to speak with an admissions advisor as soon as possible because applications are accepted on a rolling basis as the space permits. If you're a high school student now and you're the class of 2022, we do have a priority application deadline of January 15th, 2023. But I really urge you to speak with an advisor sooner than later so that you can take advantage of a lot of different special events, some privileges, and also get working on the scholarships because some of those have deadlines. Lastly, we have a Junior Advantage priority application deadline of June 30th, 2022 for the high school class of 2023. If you qualify for this, there are some special privileges that come with meeting this deadline. So we can talk more about that later, but now we're going to have some Q&A with Jennifer and our wonderful students.
Thank you so much, Denise. Yes, we have some fabulous students here ready to impart some wisdom and information about their FIDM experience. Please go ahead and put your questions in the Q&A box for Julia and Doria while we get to know them a little bit better. If you guys want to turn your cameras on so we can see your faces. Hi, Julia. Hi, Doria. Why don't we start by just doing a little overview? Where are you from? Are you currently in LA? What's your major? What quarter are you in? That kind of thing. Doria, you want to start for us?
Sure. So hi, everyone. My name's Doria Day, and I am a fashion design major, and I just finished my first year at FIDM. I'm originally from Bloomington, Indiana, and I spent this past year living in LA. Unfortunately, a majority of my classes were on Zoom, but I am now in New York working for the summer as a seamstress.
Brilliant, thank you. And so you're starting fourth quarter, right? Is that first quarter of your second year in fall?
Yes.
Excellent, and you'll be back with us on campus?
Yes, and I'm so excited to be back on campus.
Good, and we're excited to have you. And just for anybody who's watching out there and curious, as of fall 2021, we are offering majority of our classes on campus. Now, we still have some remote or hybrid options for students who are more comfortable with that. But I know for fashion design, visual students in particular, you guys are really looking forward to being back on campus. And we are offering majority of our classes on campus for fall 2021 and then going forward. Julia, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and your major and where you are and all that good stuff?
Hello, my name is Julia. I'm a visual communications major, and this fall I will be going into my fourth quarter here at FIDM. My first year I was fully online due to COVID, but I've had an amazing experience online. And I'm super excited to be going out to campus in the fall, and I'm from Maryland.
Excellent. And you've been in Maryland your whole first year?
Yes.
So we are so excited to have you on campus. That means you've not seen the campus yet.
No, not yet, but I'm super excited.
Good. We're excited to have you. Okay, we do have a couple of questions. I'll answer the first one for Victoria, who's asking, what is the application deadline for college students who graduate with a BA from another school? We don't have a traditional kind of application deadline per se for students that have a prior college degree. What I would encourage is to reach out to an admissions advisor, look at what start quarter you're interested in, what major you're interested in, and then start working on the application as soon as possible. Sometimes we have students accepted to the college like a good year and a half before they start classes. So, you know, you could also follow, if you're looking at 2022, you could follow that early application deadline of January 15th. But I mean, if you already have your bachelor's degree and you're wanting to transfer into either our MBA program or maybe look at a professional designation program, I would say just start working on the application. Okay, Alondra, we have a question. Oh, it looks like this is for Doria. What do you do on a day-to-day basis as a seamstress?
So as a seamstress, I started off my seamstressing career at a local tailoring and alterations shop in my hometown. So there as a seamstress, I was primarily doing alterations, hemming pants, a lot of hems, fixing holes. And so I'm very good at mending things now. But now as a seamstress, I work for a designer, Yvonne Chu, and she owns the brand Chimera. And I love working for her so much. She uses these beautiful shantung silks that I'm just obsessed with. And so on a day-to-day as a seamstress, I go into work and basically I sew. And she tells me what to sew. And I sew everything from sashes and face masks to dresses, really anything that she needs. She recently moved location. So right now I'm sewing these like gigantic long curtains for her to help create the space a little bit more, because it's very industrial, very high ceilings. And then on top of that, I just help her out, but it's primarily just sewing and sewing garments. But I also make trips into the city in Manhattan to the garment district to run chores and things for her, because in New York, you wouldn't expect the travel time to be quite as long because everything is so dense. But with taking the subway and traffic, it actually taking a city trip takes me about 3 hours to get there and back.
Wow. Good for you. What great experience. Now you've got LA under your belt. You've got New York under your belt. You're able to kind of go anywhere. I love that. Rocky is asking, and I can answer this one also. And then I'm going to encourage anybody who's out there to keep putting your questions in the Q&A box. The perks that were mentioned, like study abroad programs, are they available at other FIDM campuses? That's kind of a two-part answer. The study abroad programs are typically for students in their senior year, or excuse me, I'm sorry, in their second year. I read Eternity's question at the same time, and I had senior stuck in my brain. In their second year or beyond. Some of the programs are also like the programs that are kind of woven into the advanced study program. Those are third-year programs. So yeah, most of these programs are for students that are on our LA campus. But there is kind of a second part to that question in that FIDM's made the decision kind of post-COVID to really streamline all of our education through the LA campus at this time. So LA campus is where you would want to start and hopefully do your all 4 or 5 years while you're here. So just so you know, that's how we're doing things post-COVID. I think it's good to have, once we get everybody back, have them in one place and, really, go back to the way it was, I think. Okay, Eternity, I saw your question and it got in my brain. I'm an upcoming senior in high school. Is it too late to talk to a college advisor? Absolutely not. I would encourage you to reach out to an advisor ASAP. Now, Julia, did you come straight out of high school or did you do some college first?
I came to FIDM right out of high school. So I got in contact with my career advisor and she helped me guide me like through FIDM, the application process, what I needed to do before the deadline. And it was all smooth sailing. So I definitely would get in contact with a career, admissions advisor. They're very helpful.
Good. And I know Doria had the same experience because we worked together. And I know we worked together like right at the beginning of your senior year. Is that correct? Or were you a junior?
That's a good question. If I'm being honest, I'm not quite sure.
Me neither. It's been a year, and
I think it was at the beginning of my senior year.
Yeah, I think right at the beginning of your senior year, which is kind of why we decided to do this info session today, because so many students are just now kind of getting back into school and starting their senior year. And now is a great time to be doing all of your kind of admissions research for all colleges, because you want to do your early applications. And then for the juniors that are out there, it's a good time to start planning. So yeah, it's never too early to get in touch with an advisor. Okay, Victoria, I see another question from you. How are quarter terms like? Is each quarter the name of each semester? Okay, so we are on a quarter system. So it is a little bit different way of kind of thinking about how your education is laid out. It's not a traditional kind of semester system. So there's 3 quarters in 1 year. 1 year is 9 months typically, although Victoria, I think you said you have a prior bachelor's degree, so your whole program might be a different length. You probably want to speak with an advisor. But yeah, we're on a quarter system. So it's 10 weeks of class and then 2 weeks of break, and then second quarter begins. I always love that for students because I think it's super fast paced. How are you guys acclimating to the quarter system out of, after coming straight from high school, which was a semester system? What do you think about the pace?
I really like the pace a lot more than the semester system, actually, because it's slightly shorter. And so you tend not to forget all of that information in that amount of time. And I feel like it's really good. It's really condensed. You get straight to the point and you really learn a lot. It can be a little overwhelming during like finals because you're learning so much information at once, but I feel like that's really a good thing. And I really like how it's set up a lot.
Good. I'm glad. And I feel like the thing about pace and not forgetting what you've learned is you also don't have an opportunity to procrastinate. You can't say, oh, I'll do that next week, because by next week it's already too late. Don't you feel like, have you been able to really stay on task in that way, Julia? Like not procrastinating?
Oh, yes. I agree with Doria. I love the quarters. I love that they're 10 weeks. Like she said, they're concise and to the point, and you don't procrastinate on your skills. And you're still gaining all that knowledge and new knowledge coming in. You're not going to forget, what you learned 2 weeks ago. And all the projects here kind of all intertwine, and all the skills that you learn go all together. So I really, really like the quarterly system.
Good. That's a really good point, because every quarter you're building on what you've learned the previous quarter. So, sometimes in, traditional college or in high school or something like that, it's like you finish that semester, you move on to the next thing. At FIDM, it's very much kind of progressive sequential. So you're kind of always building on what you've learned. So, and then the ultimate goal is that portfolio and or collection development if you're a design student. So, okay, Morgan has a question. I'm going to get, well, you know what? The sewing and sketching part could be for Doria, but I know in visual, you guys do quite a bit of sketching. So maybe I'll have Doria answer, then Julia. Did you two know how to sew and sketch when you arrived at FIDM? And how do you feel FIDM helped develop those skills? Let's do sew and sketch for Doria, and then sketching in particular for Julia.
So yes, I came into FIDM with an extensive background in sewing, but I know that lots of people come into FIDM not knowing how to thread a needle, and that is totally okay. And they become design majors, and then they learn how to sew in industry sewing, and then they become really successful and they kill it in the sewing game. So you do not need to know how to sew. However, it is helpful if you do have that background. And then for the sketching, I have taken lots of art classes before FIDM, and it was always something that I was interested in. However, I wouldn't say that my fashion design sketching skills were at an industry level, and I definitely had a lot to improve upon. And within my first or second sketching class, it taught me so much about sketching, and I can draw like a really accurate, gorgeous, beautiful croquis now. And I absolutely adored my sketching teachers. They're both amazing, and I can't imagine anyone else teaching me how to sketch better than the professors that I had. And I'm very thankful to have had them. And so, yes, I knew how to sew, and yes, I knew how to sketch. However, I would say that FIDM really helped polish those skills and bring it to an industry standard.
Excellent. And Julia, did you have any art or sketching background?
Going in high school, I had just a little bit of sketching under my belt, but not a whole lot. And once I got into FIDM, I've taken 2 sketching classes, ideation sketching and perspective sketching. And those classes have taught me so much. As a visual communication major, our sketching was like doing a lot of like furniture and like living room spaces. And I wasn't very familiar with drawing any of those or storefronts. But the amount of skills that I've learned in just 10 weeks is incredible. If you were to show me what my final would have looked like in the first week, I would have been like, I don't know, but you really surprise yourself. And the professors, like Doria said, are absolutely amazing. They're so patient. And there's even like office hours you can go to, which are just awesome for extra help. And I've gained so much sketching skills through FIDM.
That's so great to hear. Sometimes I tell students, because I get this question all the time, working with prospective students, do I need to know how to sew? Do I need to know how to sketch? And my answer is always, you don't have to know how to do any of these things coming into FIDM, but you have to want to learn. And if you are kind of an open book and become the sponge in the classroom, you're going to learn, you're going to blow your own mind at what you know how to do at the end, I think. And yeah, that's good to hear that that's affirmed from you guys, because that's what I tell students all the time. Can you transfer in after community college? I'll take that one. Of course, you can transfer in after you're done at the community college, after you've done 1 semester at the community college, straight out of high school with an AA degree, with a bachelor's degree, with a graduate degree. I mean, yes. So we have different academic or degree pathways for students based on the prior education that they come into the college with. So if I'm meeting with a student who's done 2 semesters at community college and wants to transfer, then we discuss transferability of classes on a class-by-class basis. If someone has their AA degree, then we talk about coming in as a junior in pursuit of a bachelor's degree. Someone with a bachelor's degree, we talk about professional designation or the MBA. So yeah, there's entry points for every student, you know, based on their educational background. Okay, Sophia has a question. Okay, this is a good one. What is the workload like at FIDM, and are pulling all-nighters expected? Julia, you go first, then Doria.
Sorry about that. The workload, it is, you do have to get acclimated from high school to college, of course. So I think the first quarter you kind of figure out, you know, your classes and how to balance everything. The workload, the programs are rigorous, but I know if you time manage, like I always, if I could give like one tip, I would say time management and like having an agenda and doing your tasks, or like having tasks written down of what you want done each day is so helpful. Of course, you're gonna have some nights when you do have all-nighters. It just depends on the project, the class that you're in. But I see if you really just time manage your time, have daily tasks that you want to get done, you won't be up until like midnight. You'll definitely have your time, because balance is really important with all the schoolwork. So having the two separated is important.
I think that's really good advice. Balance is important. And probably there are those times, midterms, finals, where you're pulling all-nighters, and then sometimes where you can stay on task and have time to hopefully go to the beach or do something fun. Doria, how many all-nighters have you pulled? I mean, you don't need to tell me exactly, but is that a reality for you in your program?
So that's a hard question, Jennifer, because I say yes to everything. And so I have a very busy schedule, and I have been pulling all-nighters since high school. This is just the person I am. I put too much on my plate, but I love everything that I do. Therefore, I sacrifice some hours of sleep for it. Red Bull, the yellow edition, is my best friend at times. But I'd say not having a job and going to school, you don't have to pull all-nighters. It's easy to manage your time. Google Calendar, I use it all the time, as well as my notes. I make a lot of lists. I'd say that's the best and easiest way for me to personally stay organized. And then if you have a job and you're going to FIDM, I'd say if you're not doing too much outside of that, also, you don't have to pull that many all-nighters. Being in the fashion design major, again, as Julia said, it is rigorous. And I have heard from other fashion design students as well, as I advance in the program, I'll probably be pulling maybe some more all-nighters, up all night sewing. But definitely for me, working and going to school, and then also being involved in student activities and trying to have a social life, you just really have to balance everything. Again, it's that perfect balance, making time for schoolwork, making time for friends. And it's like, okay, which one do you want to do at 9 p.m. on a Friday?
Right. Exactly. That's good. You have to compromise sometimes, right? And I think the social component is hugely important in college. These are your friends that you're going to have for life. These are people that you're going to work with, that you're going to run into in the industry. So tell me, I know that you guys are both social ambassadors. And then Doria, what are you doing? You're involved in Mode as well. So you want to tell me a little bit about Mode, and then Julia can tell me a little bit about the social ambassador program?
Yeah, so I am a part of FIDM Mode magazine. That is our student fashion published magazine on campus. And I am the fashion editor this quarter. So I'm a part of the editorial team. And I absolutely love Mode. It's a really easy way to meet other motivated, creative people, whether that be makeup artists, photographers, models, designers, writers. And I really love Mode so much, because not only is it giving me experience now as an editor of how to manage people and how to be a good leader, but also before, when I was a stylist, it teaches me how to work with other people, how to work in a team, how to effectively communicate. And so not only do you get to meet a bunch of other really awesome people that go to your school and are passionate about something that you are also very passionate about, but it's also building those key skills that a lot of people want to see, and it looks amazing on a resume. Whenever I tell a future employer or just people, current employers. Whenever I tell anyone that I am a part of the student-run fashion magazine at my school, they kind of perk up a little bit and they smile because they're so impressed. And I absolutely love mode and I love it so much. And I really want to be a part of it until I graduate.
Good. I'm glad. We want you to be a part of it. And I think it's so important to take on these extracurricular things, whether it's become a student ambassador, be a tour guide on campus, join Mode Magazine, join student council, all of those things, because you're not siloed. We're never siloed in our work world. You're never going to be just a fashion designer who never works with anybody else. You have to learn how to work on a team. You have to learn how to manage other people. And I think it's also fun to meet people from other majors and kind of get a glimpse into what's happening in their world, because everybody is busy, but nobody should be too busy to make those connections. Hopefully it's really made that, social component fulfilling for you. Tell us a little bit about the Social Ambassador Program, Julia.
So me and Dory, we actually joined the Social Ambassador Quarter and Spring Quarter, which has been super exciting. But as a Social Ambassador, we attend different events, help the campus in any way that we can. We also help with social media, making content for the school. And like you said, it's another great way to meet like-minded creatives, build that friendship, because like you said, these are our friends for life. And so it's been an amazing experience being really involved in the school. It's been a great opportunity.
And I think super fun for you, having had to do your whole first year in Maryland. You're going to come to school in October with a ton of friends that you've been able to make made because you got so involved in these extracurriculars. You weren't, out there alone in school. So I love that you did that. Dory, did you have something?
Yes, I just wanted to add one more thing about being a FIDM student ambassador and being a part of kind of like their social media program, but also outside of the program, I love the online community that FIDM has so much. This entire past year throughout COVID, I feel like I have gotten to know people on such a different level just by following them on social media and engaging with their content, commenting on their photos, hyping them up, hyping up their work, getting to see them showcase their work. I have truly made so many amazing digital connections, not only through the FIDM social media like ambassadors program, but also through just engaging with other students on Instagram and conversing with them and following each other and hyping each other up. And I know that when I get to see them in person, we're just going to be so excited.
Yeah, I mean, it's really fun. This is your community, and you're supportive of each other. And again, you never know, trust me, 5 years, 10 years down the road, you're going to be working together for one another. And these connections matter. This is the network that you're building by choosing a design college that's kind of preparing you for an industry. So good on you. I think that's really smart. I have 2 visual communications questions back to back. All right, Rocky says, hi, Julia. I plan on being a visual communications major, and I was curious what it's like for you, A. And then someone else wants to know what's included in the visual communications major and what does the career path look like? So maybe I can speak a little bit to a broader career path, but if you want to tell us what the major's like for you, what you're learning, and maybe ultimately what you want to do as a visual communications grad, Julia.
So as a visual communications major, I absolutely love the major. It's a very broad major. There's so many different careers that can come out of the major. The classes are all diverse. I've learned so many different art skills. I've taken a lot of Adobe programs, learning both Photoshop, Illustrator, like I said, a lot of sketching classes, ideation, perspective. I've taken a survey of visual communications, learning about mannequins, window displays, store interiors. So the classes are all very broad, like I was saying, and a ton of different careers can come out of it. It's amazing because I feel like I get to touch on a little bit of everything because I'll be in one class and I'll have to sketch, but this is like a completely different class, but it's the skills that they're teaching you are so useful because it's all a process going from like A, B, C to the final project. So they set you up very nicely with the classes. As for dream careers after graduating from the program, I'm an aspiring stylist. I would love to style. I'm unsure what type of stylist I want to be, whether it's TV wardrobe styling, personal styling, or even going through my major, taking my survey visual communications, learning about window displays. Might want to style for like different window displays for stores. And you might get into the major and you might find things that you never thought that you would like, or kind of elaborated on what you thought you wanted to come out being.
Yeah, I think that's so true. And you're right. Visual communications is a really broad-based major. I think it's probably one of our most art-based majors, though FIDM is not a traditional art school. We're very much a design college. And the distinction is at a design college, we're preparing you for professionalism in the industries that we serve. So it's not a lot of abstract like painting, sculpture, metalworking, but visual communications has a lot of art-based classes. But we're leading you. A lot of times I'll have a visual student say to me, I want to learn how to make my art marketable. And I think that's where visual communication sometimes comes in. So again, PR, event planning, styling, certainly branding, social media marketing. It's one of these majors where you're going to be able to learn a little bit about a lot of different things, space planning. If someone says, I'm interested in interior design, but it's not really interior design. It's more like space planning, visuals, then obviously visual communication. So we can also help you kind of peel that onion in admissions as well, based on what you like to do, what you ultimately see yourself doing in the industry. And remember also that we're able to have students layer their education. So I'll just give you, for instance, and I don't know that this is your track necessarily, Julia, but let's say Julia did a 2-year AA degree in visual communications. And beyond that, she wanted to get the BA in design, or maybe she wanted to go into, fashion styling and coordination, something like that, or maybe take on a different major like the BS in business management. So layering that real kind of art-based education with a business degree, or maybe a merch degree, or beauty, or graphic design. So there's ways to layer the education so that students can walk away kind of armed with many skill sets related, but different to this industry. So there's that. Visual is a good one. Okay, Stephen wants to know, what is a fashion club and what sorts of scholarships would I get for being in one? So fashion club is something that you can have at your high school or college. If it's a FIDM fashion club, which it should be, which you can go to fashionclub.com and get all of the information on how to start a fashion club. If you start a fashion club and you are the president of said fashion club, you have to have something like 9 meetings. We help you. We'll create a fashion club kit. We give you meeting topics, and you have to have something like 9 members, but the scholarship is $10,000 per year. So that's up to a $40,000 scholarship at FIDM for starting a fashion club. And then fashion club members get a scholarship as well. And I can't remember if it's $4,000, $5,000, or $6,000. I'm sorry. It's on the 5. Thank you. You're hired, Doria. Were you the fashion club president at your school? Yeah. So tell us what you did, some of the meetings that you guys had and what you did in your fashion club.
Yeah, so I started my fashion club at my high school at the end of my freshman year. And some different things we did were we made dog toys as a fundraiser for the local animal shelter out of old t-shirts. We also had some workshops where we would all like sketch together. What else would we do? We would do photo shoots together, which were very fun. We would sew scrunchies as a fundraiser. And then we would also team up with another club at my school, which was called Project Middle Way. And their whole shtick was that they planned a fashion show, a benefit fashion show for my community's local domestic violence shelter. And so we would team up with them and some of our members would make designs for the fashion show. That's
awesome. So it was part fun, part philanthropic, part community service. And that's what we're looking for. Just how involved can you get, and what can you give back, and all while maintaining your interest in this industry, which I think is the important part when you're in high school or even at community college or any college. If you're working towards something, you want to be in it while you're in it, if that makes sense. You want to be, thinking about this thing you're ultimately doing, but working towards it, which is something that someone had asked Oh yeah, how much fashion knowledge, materials, or terms do you need to know before going into FIDM? And I think I'll ask Doria and Julia to answer that question, how much they knew prior, but I think that speaks to, having, your hand in it while you're still where you are. If you're in Ohio in high school, that's okay. Start a fashion club, join a fashion club. You don't have to wait till you get to LA to learn about the fashion industry. Get involved on Instagram like Doria's been doing, or just learn, read Vogue, learn about whatever you need to know about this industry. So how did you guys become interested in this industry, and how much knowledge do you think you had coming in? Doria, if you want to start.
So I have always known that I've wanted to go into fashion. It all started in kindergarten when I started drawing princess dresses, and I tell many people that I never stopped. And that passion just kind of snowballed and grew into this bigger and bigger thing. I became more involved, and my family was very supportive, which I'm very thankful for. I don't think I would be here today without their support, because that support from loved ones, especially going into an art or design field, is very, very important. And so thankfully, because I was so determined and I loved this industry so much, I went out of my way to make opportunities for myself to gain that knowledge. And so I did enter FIDM with quite a bit of fashion knowledge, because I had previously worked as a seamstress. I worked at Jo-Ann Fabrics. I was just looking for any way I could to be around fabric and to learn more about fashion. However, I would say you need to know very little about the actual art and designing before coming to FIDM. I think what FIDM really wants to see when they're looking at applications is that there's a passion, there is a drive, and you are willing to learn and to get better. I mean, of course, it wouldn't hurt to start drawing and start draping and start sewing. And I think that all helps to make your application better. And it also helps to make you better in terms of what you know entering college in a design profession. But it's the passion that drives everything. And that's what you need to nurture most.
I love it. And to create opportunity, because it doesn't matter where you live, where you're from. I know LA is aspirational for many students, but there's opportunity right outside your door. There are tailors and seamstresses and Jo-Ann's Fabrics and all of these places where you can work. You can get a job in a boutique doing their visuals. All of those things are accessible. You just have to kind of create opportunity. There's also lots of YouTube tutorials on sketching and things like that. But Julia, did you feel, how much did you know about this industry coming in? When did your kind of love for this industry start? And how did you choose visual communications as your major?
So just like Doria, I always had a passion for fashion, and I knew that I wanted to be in the industry. And I would try to get my foot in the door any way that I could. I worked at 2 different boutiques in town, doing various things, dressing windows, helping style clients, and just anything that I could help with. But also in high school, my county had a career and technology program. So for my junior and senior year, I was enrolled there. And I took on the textiles and fashion program. So I was familiar with terminology. I do know how to sew and sketch croquis just a little bit. So I had 2 years under my belt through high school. But when I got into FIDM, being a visual communications major, going through that program, since it was fashion design, I knew that I wasn't a sewer. So that's how I figured out, I'm not a sewer, but I still wanted to be in that creative field, and I loved styling. And after talking to my admissions counselor, that's how I found visual communications, and she opened the door to all of the exciting things that I'd be able to do. But going into FIDM, there was a lot of terminology that I didn't know, learning about the interior of a store, the different, tea stands, just different things that hold the garment. So I learned a tremendous amount of things that I didn't know walking in. So
I think your experience speaks to exactly what Doria was saying about if you create opportunity, you also learn about yourself. If you wouldn't have taken that program in your high school, you might have thought, maybe I'll study fashion design because I love the fashion industry. But in realizing that you don't love to sew, you were able to, cross that major off your list. But that doesn't mean the fashion industry is not right for you. So I think it's so important to know if you love this industry, it's about finding the right fit, finding the right major, because you can be at a great college like FIDM, but if the major doesn't quite fit right, you'll want to make a change. So that's where we come in as admissions advisors to kind of explain kind of the breadth and depth of all of our majors, and then you decide where you might be best suited given your experience, what you love to do, where you see yourself, your strengths, your weaknesses, all of those things. Eternity has a question that I know Doria can answer. What is housing like?
Housing is wonderful, but it can also be scary. I'd say before I got any of my new roommates, it was really scary because they don't tell you ahead of time, and you meet your roommates the day that you're moving in together with 3 other people. So it's a little nerve-wracking in that sense. However, I've also met some of my best friends through housing. I was very thankful in my first quarter. That's where I met 2 of my best friends. And that really helped shape a lot of my FIDM experience in a very positive way. And I also really like being in student housing because I think it's a nice transition going from high school to college. Also, it's much nicer than a traditional dorm. You're not stuck in this tiny room with like bunk beds. You each get your own beds. You're not stacked on top of each other like sardines. There's a kitchen, there's a living room, and you just have to share a bathroom with one other person. And I think it's really nice. Again, I like going through student housing because you don't have to worry about utility bills or fixing things. There's maintenance and there's RAs to make sure that you're okay and that everything is running smoothly. And so I've really enjoyed student housing, and I'm hopefully going to become an RA this fall. But I love student housing. I love all the different facilities. I think everyone has their own favorite building. I know that this quarter there's going to be 4 different buildings, Broadway Palace, G12, the Met, and the Level, and they're all really nice facilities. And I don't know, what else do you have to ask about student housing? I just have good things to say.
I think maybe we could have like Spencer or Heather or somebody who's back there pop the link to student housing in the chat box just so you guys can look at it. So to kind of expand on what Doria said, the students are living in apartments. They're not dorms. So they're 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartments. So one, like Doria and her roommate are in 1 bedroom, 1 bath. So you're only sharing a bathroom with 1 other student, not like 8 students down the hall. And then there's 2 and 2 in the other. So 4 students to a 2-bedroom, 2-bath typically. And they're in these beautiful buildings that are like secured and gated and have pools and tennis courts and gyms and the whole thing. But I also think that moving to LA from out of state or from anywhere is scary, right? You're taking a leap of faith. It's your first, sense of real independence. You don't know anybody, and trust us when we say the gravity is not lost on us. I have butterflies. I've been with the college for 24 years. I have butterflies before housing check-in every single quarter because we know it's such a big deal for you guys. And I think that the RAs and our director of housing tries to make it a really smooth and seamless transition. And interestingly enough, many students will say that their roommates become their best friends. And I think even if you're randomly selected a roommate, it doesn't feel that random at FIDM because the reality is every single student that's here is following a passion-driven path. Everybody's a creative, regardless of your major. So you automatically walk into this hallway or to your housing and you have something in common with your roommates. So it's fun, it's exciting, it's a little nerve-wracking. We totally get it. And I think try to make it as, less little nerve-wracking as possible. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Seamless. How do I apply to FIDM? Is there a printout application? Do I need an advisor? No printout application. Everything is done online. You definitely need to speak with an advisor. So if you don't have an advisor already, you can get one just by going online and requesting information about the college. But there is an application page. I don't know if Heather or Spencer wants to pop in the how to apply page, but everything is done online. You apply, it opens up an application portal for you. You have to obtain transcripts from high school and college, or just from high school if you're still in high school. 2 letters of recommendation. There's an essay. There's a portfolio requirement. And you upload all of that to your application portal, but your admissions advisor will help you every step of the way. So if you have questions about any of those pieces, absolutely reach out to an admissions advisor and they will help you. Okay, Eternity has a good question that kind of piggybacks on that. How long did it take for you guys to complete the portfolio process, Doria? And then I'm going to explain. Do you want me to, maybe I should explain the portfolio first, and then you can tell us how long it took. So there's 2 types of portfolios that we can accept at FIDM. One would be an existing body of work. So if you have somewhere between 8 to 12 pieces of existing work. Now, one thing that I think is important to note is that it does not need to be related to your major. So if you've never sewn a garment before, I'm not expecting 12-piece full collection. If you've never sewn before, but you do photography, or you paint, or you're into poetry, or, I've had students turn in, any myriad things that are creative that show, again, depth and breadth of your creative artistic abilities. You can submit those. They don't, again, need to be related to your major. If you have a good combination, like I'm sure Julia turned in some of her fashion sketches, even though fashion design was not her major, great, we love to see it. The other piece would be to, if you don't have an existing portfolio, this is a design info session, so I'm assuming everybody has some existing work, but if you don't, and maybe a merch student slipped their way into this info session, we can give you a project, which is really an essay where you're doing kind of some research on a particular brand. This is more for the business majors. So if there are any business majors out there, we will give you a project. Most design majors have some type of creative work. Even if you've been in art classes your whole life and you've done, pen and ink or pencil or charcoal, great, we want to see it. Again, I can't emphasize enough that it does not have to be related to your major. So Doria, how long did it take you to put your portfolio together? And then I'm going to ask you, Julia, what you incorporated, because I'm sure you have some art plus some fashion in yours. And Doria, was yours all fashion? Okay, tell us what you got.
So putting together my portfolio didn't take as long. It didn't really take that long because, again, I've taken lots of art classes. I've experimented with a lot of different mediums. So I had things ranging from designs that I had previously made to graphic designs that I made in a class, or fiber art pieces, so like embroidery things, or paintings, drawings. And it didn't take me that long because I had all of this pre-existing work. And so I really just picked what I felt like was my personal best work, whether that be from fashion or graphic design. I kind of put in a range of things to show that I had a lot of different skills to offer FIDM, as well as a lot of different concepts to offer as well. So it didn't take me that long. I'd say less than a month. I tried to pick all of my best pieces, and that was more than the requirement. And I was like, okay, now I have to make the decision and cut things out, ask people what they think, get different people's opinions. And so personally for me, it did not take that long.
And that's kind of the hard part for some students, because we only want to see 8 to 12. I mean, if you slip 13 in there, nobody's going to get mad at you. But it's also about, following guidelines. And we really want to see what you think are your best 12 pieces or your best 10 pieces. So Julia, what did you put in your portfolio and how long did it take?
So I did have a combination of different types of art. So due to my career, the textiles and fashion program that I did in school, we had deadlines from the years and stuff. So we had 1 year finishing 1/2 of our collection, and then our senior year finishing up the rest before we submitted for colleges. So my fashion design took me 2 years just because it was based on like the high school semesters. But then I also wanted, because I knew that early on that I wasn't interested in fashion design. So during that time, I was saving all my money because I wanted to put together a styling portion in my portfolio too, just to kind of get out my ideas, and just to showcase the different types of art that I'm interested in. So the styling portion didn't take that long, just saving up, of course, for the different looks that I wanted to piece together. So if I didn't have deadlines for college or for high school, it would have been done faster, but it didn't take me very long to put those together. But yeah, just a different combination of fashion design, sketches, styling. And then also I did include with my fashion design, just like a little, like I made mood boards just of like my process of my sketches with my fabric. So I just took a little screenshot too, and I included that in there just to show people my thought process and the story and the message behind the garment that I was making.
So smart. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, and I see that Eternity, I'm looking at the time, so we have 5 minutes, that Eternity is also mentioning that you have a CTE-based program too in graphic design. So excellent. You've got a lot of work. You'll be able to bang that out regardless of your major. Put in some of your graphics work. So I guess I want to ask what parting pearls of wisdom do you have to drop on our audience about following their path, following what they love, what you did right, what any of those things? Do you have anything to say to everybody? How to prepare, what to do to get here, all of that? Let's go with Julia first.
So mine's more like inspirational, but if I could give one piece of advice, I would say that your art truly speaks to who you are, and know that it's okay to make mistakes and it's okay to be uncertain, and take every opportunity as a learning experience, because you're truly gonna grow and learn and really perfect your art. So try not to be too hard on yourself. Embrace the journey, embrace the process, and most importantly, remember why you did it in the first place.
Yes, I love that. Embrace the journey. That is something I'm going to take with me too, because that's really good. It's all about the journey, right? It's not just where you're going, but it's how you get there. And to enjoy every moment, even the hard stuff. What are your pearls of wisdom, Doria?
My pearls of wisdom to everyone here, I would say, is to smile and be a friendly face and be respectful to everyone that you meet, especially in your educational and professional career, because those connections are going to make or break your career, and you want to be on everyone's good side. And I've also blossomed a lot of beautiful relationships with professors on a professional level, and I know that I can turn to them for any career advice that I might have, as well as students. You want to be everyone's friend so that you can pick their brain, get their advice, really absorb everything that they have to give to you, as well as collaborate with them and really get some different perspectives on different things. And no matter what career you want to go into, that is going to take you a very long way. Also, get business cards. Because whenever I show people my business cards, they take me so much more seriously, because it's like, here's my business card. I'm serious about this.
Right.
Please hit me up for my work.
Amazing. I love it. And you're so right. There's so much to learn from anyone and everyone you come in contact with, be it another student, an instructor, a new way of thinking, a new perspective. As students, as people out in the industry, we always have something to learn. So I love to tell people to be the sponge and take it all in, and be kind is always a good kind of metaphor for life, to just walk through life being kind. I know Denise wants to pop back in and say goodbye to everybody. I do want to mention one quick thing about the campus. Now that the campus is open, if anybody out there finds themselves in LA and wants to take a campus tour, we are doing campus tours by appointment only. That's the big asterisk, by appointment only. So reach out to an admissions advisor. We'd love to show you the campus now that we're open. So Denise?
Well, first, I wanted to thank Julia and Doria. I really enjoyed hearing your stories and listening to you talk about your experiences. I think it's so helpful to people who are thinking about FIDM to hear from you. And I can't wait to see you both on campus and meet you in person. So thank you guys.
Thank you guys so
To
much.
those of you who are out there, I hope that this info session has been helpful to you. And, it was interesting looking at your questions. As the admissions director, I do a lot of the acceptance interviews. And I want you to know that we sincerely understand that college is to learn. We don't expect you to know everything. We are looking for your passion and your motivation, and really, what potential do you have to do this? And don't be intimidated by the portfolio. It is just your story. And I've seen students pull their portfolio together, in a week, go out and do some photo shoots and bring in some of the stuff that they already have. But really, I think the key for you is to connect with an admissions advisor, because this is a very different process than your typical college or traditional college. The admissions advisor is really there for you and to understand you and to help you find that right fit and guide you. So, we're excited to help you. We want to help you with all the different pieces, and financial aid is part of that. So the earlier you connect with somebody, the more they can give you the steps to take to, ultimately to make your dream a reality. So thank you guys. Thanks for being here tonight. And thanks, Jennifer.